Hey MB crew, Mona B here. So before we get into the video, make sure you guys turn on your post notifications so you're notified whenever I post a new video to my channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my vlog channel. Yes, I do have a vlog channel and it is Life as Mona B. So make sure you guys head over there and check it out. It will be linked in the description box below and in the iCard section above. And make sure you guys are following your girl on Instagram so you guys can see updates and things like that from me fast. If you want to message me, I really like when you guys message me on Instagram. It's easier for me to get back to y'all quicker. So if you have any questions, any concerns, want any advice or anything like that, message me on Instagram. Bear with me, it does take me a little time to get to it, but I will definitely get to it. Just give me a second. And y'all know how Instagram likes to separate the folders. Like, I be having to remember to check that other folder. But anyway, y'all clicked on the video today because we're going to be talking about trimming. When you should trim your natural hair, when it's appropriate to trim your natural hair. When I first went natural, I was under the impression that a lot of the same rules, to a certain extent, that a lot of the same rules that I applied to my relaxed hair applied to my natural hair. Now, a lot of them do still apply. There are a few that are a little bit different when it comes to your natural hair that you cannot do the same as when you were relaxed, if you get what I'm saying, as far as trimming. Now, growing up, I was always taught that you trimmed your hair every 6 weeks. You want to get the dead ends off, that way that the new growth can come in and flourish and you don't have split ends. You don't want to end up having straggly ends because, you know, back then when you relax, when your ends look straggly and you have a relaxer and you're straightening your hair, it looks completely fried at the end. So you always want to keep that nice blunt cut so your hair will be flowing and things like that. But the same does not apply to natural hair. It kind of does, but it does not. So I was under impression, even when I first went natural, that I should be, you know, chopping my hair or trimming my hair every 6 weeks. And I was kind of doing that until I had to learn on my own that my hair doesn't really need to be cut every 6 weeks. And what I've learned from studying and researching from other cosmetologists is that when you're natural and you're constantly cutting your hair off or trimming your hair every 6 weeks, what you're doing is just simply chopping off your length. That is what you're doing, because think about it, guys. I keep saying chopped, excuse me. The reason why you would trim your hair so frequently with a relaxer is because relaxed ends are bad. They go bad a lot quicker. Relaxed hair goes bad a lot quicker because there's chemical involved. But see, but being natural, there is no chemical being involved unless you are bleaching or dyeing your hair. Then that's another scenario. But I'm just strictly talking about if you're not putting any chemical on your hair whatsoever, that's why it was important for us to trim our hair every 6 weeks with a relaxer, because the ends are more damaged. You get what I'm saying? Because we were constantly putting chemical. And even if you were just touching up your roots, I know this for me, when I would relax, even when I was just getting my roots touched up or whatever, when I would rinse my hair out in the shower, that relaxer would be running down to my ends. So can you imagine that's constantly frying them? So that's why it was more important to trim your ends when you were relaxed, because we were putting chemical on our hair. But now that we're natural, if you guys are natural, which I know most of you guys are, it's not, you don't need to be trimming your hair every 6 weeks. Now, what I like to tell people is everybody is going to need to trim their hair at a different stage. That's why I think that we need to take the time off of it. And that's exactly why when I first went natural, I'm a victim of that. I put a time frame on it, like maybe every few months or whatever you should. But honestly, you only should be trimming your hair when your ends feel straggly, if you feel like you have single strand knots, or if they just feel so rough. That's when you should be trimming your hair. Like, for instance, like, I'm not due for a trim right now. I don't have like any split ends, or my ends aren't really straggly or anything. Like, they're not giving me trouble. Another way to be able to tell if you need to trim your natural hair ends is when you do your twist. If you're doing your twist and they're really frizzy on the end and they're not curling up, then, or they're not like holding together on the ends, then you need a trim. The ends are straggly, they're fried, like they're not really fried, but they're just straggly and they need to get off, because you guys have to remember, you know, our ends are the oldest parts of our hair, so they do need to be trimmed off, but they don't need to be trimmed off as frequently as when you were relaxed. So what I would say is just continue to monitor your hair. If you start noticing that your styles aren't laying right, your twist styles aren't laying right, certain natural hair, when you blow your hair out, if it's looking straggly, then you need to go ahead and trim. But I don't necessarily think that we should put a time frame per se on it, because everyone's hair is different, and you could be potentially just chopping off your length, if you know what I mean. I hear some naturals that don't trim but nothing but twice a year, and to be honest, I'm that natural. I typically trim only twice a year, and I'm gonna just keep it honest with y'all. When I first went natural prior to being on YouTube, y'all, that whole time, that whole what, 4 years, I probably had only trimmed my hair maybe twice. And y'all, nothing was wrong with my hair. My hair was flourishing. It had grew really long, and I wasn't trimming it on the regular. I just wasn't. My ends weren't that bad. And I probably should have been trimming it a little bit more frequently, but I'm just letting you guys know that it's not necessary for you to trim your hair in a certain time frame. Just look at your hair in the mirror when you're doing your styles. If you feel like they're straggly, if it just looks crazy on the ends, if it's not holding, if you notice that they're really dry and they're kind of breaking, then go ahead and give yourself a trim. Always look for single strand, not split ends, things like that, because a lot of times you could be literally just chopping off your length, and then you wondering why your hair not really, or you're not retaining any length. It's because you're chopping it off so quick. You know what I'm saying? 6 weeks comes around really fast, if you know what I mean. We only grow a few inches within a few months. So you don't want to just be constantly just trimming. A lot of times I feel like you don't even need it. You're just doing it because it's what was taught to us when we were relaxed. But those things, relaxed trims, don't compare to being natural in trimming. Basically, is what I'm trying to get out to you guys. I feel like twists are like the biggest indicator of when you need to trim. When your twist ain't laying right, or when your twist out's looking real frizzy on the end, then you need to go ahead and trim. And that's why it's important to use your hands and your fingers when you're detangling. There's nothing wrong with using combs. I kind of piggyback and use both, but really get in there with your fingers, because your hands will be able to feel on those strands and see like, oh, these are a little straggly. It's a little rough right here. This is a little brittle, this is a little dry. Let me go ahead and trim it. And a lot of times you can just dust your hair. Randomly, I dust my hair from time to time. Like if I'm twisting my hair and I feel it's a little rough or it ain't right, I just go in and dust it. You know what I'm saying? Every now and again. As a natural hair person, there is no time frame on when you should or shouldn't be trimming your hair. But I feel like you should not be doing it as frequently, okay guys? When your hair is natural, it's in one of the most healthiest states because you're not putting any chemical on it. So you don't have to worry about that. Even take it back to like when we were in Africa, our ancestors and stuff like that. Y'all, I'm sure they weren't doing half of the stuff that we are doing to our natural hair. And if you Google and look it up, their hair grew extremely long. Okay, extremely long. And I'm sure they was not doing the stuff that we were doing. So a lot of times less is more. Just let your hair do its thing. Just let nature do its thing. But just feel on your hair, and that way you will be able to know. So the next time when it's time for me to trim my hair, y'all, I haven't trimmed my hair or anything, but when it is time for me to trim my hair, I would definitely come on camera and trim it with you guys. I do have some videos in the description box where I have trimmed my hair in the past, so you guys can see. I personally like to blow out my hair to do a good trim. You don't necessarily have to. I like to dust my hair when it's like in its natural state. I mean, it's still its natural state, but I like to dust my hair when I have like twists or whatever, and I like to do a full-on trim when my hair is blown out, so I can really see the ends and make sure I'm not like chopping off too much or too little or things like that. But all in all, you can definitely just go to a cosmetologist, someone that specializes in natural hair. Let me say that again, somebody that specializes in natural hair. Don't just go to somebody that only knows how to do relaxers or whatever, because they're going to constantly chop off your hair, because they do not understand that natural hair care is a little bit different from relaxed hair care. A lot of the things in relaxed hair care you can still do to your natural hair, but a lot of the things don't apply, if you get what I'm saying. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video cleared up some things for you guys. If you guys have any input, you already know what to do. Leave it in the comment section. Please be respectful to each other in the comment section. This is a positive place where we can come and talk about our hair, and I would like to keep it that way. I appreciate you guys in advance for being so positive, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope these tips were helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all on my next one. Bye.